Well, good morning, everyone. Don Cramer with the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty. Welcome to the weekly recap on this episode's of Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. Colleen Schaefer, my partner, sends her best today. She is doing a little bit of the real estate thing with a couple of new listings we've got coming forward here, working with some clients. We're going to have more on those here in some upcoming episodes, so we're excited to discuss those. However, again, Wednesdays is the day we love to go into the stats and see what's going on in the Las Vegas housing market. So let's dive right in. So let's take a look at this week's numbers here. So this week we have for sale 4,919 single family homes available. Now that is up slightly versus last week's number of 4,863, and that's the first increase we've had in several weeks. Now, of the 4,919 homes available for sale, 4,837 are traditional sales, 41 short sales, and 41 foreclosures. So no noticeable change in foreclosures and short sales in our busy housing market right now. Additionally, if we go over to the next area, which is under contracts, we had a slight dip there as well. So this week we started with 4,363 homes under contract versus last week's number of 4,407. Of the 4,363 under contract, 4,203 homes, and I apologize if we got a little typo there, got a little data mixed up there, but we'll go throw the slides up corrected a little later. That is 4,203 are traditional sales, 130 short sales, and 30 foreclosures. So please note that. So again, 4,203 are traditional, 130 short sales, and 30 foreclosures. Other big key stats we are keeping an eye on are back on market, 202 homes, price decreases for 457, and median home price still at $325. So I'll be curious to see what next week's going to look like as we go from July into August. But at the 325 number there, and we've had a great demand this month of July, we might see a tick up in the median home price. Maybe not a lot, but possibly at least a point. So now let's move on to sort of the weekly change. Now, over the last week, we added 787 new listings. You see the back on markets and price decrease numbers there. And then under contract, we had 997. So we were still adding more under contract than we were new to the market. And then over the last 7-day period, we had 734 sold. Now, if we take a final look here at what's going on at each price point. Now, we got a little bit of a mixed news, but not a lot of change. So if we're looking at the under $250,000 price point homes, we have 468 active listings with 576 under contract. Now, that's a slight change in both directions, where last week's number was 445 active listings and 603 under contract. So we actually grew inventory a little bit and demand decreased a little bit in the under 250 segment. Now moving on to the 250 to 500,000 price point segment, really hardly any change at all. So this week we have 2,832 listings available for sale, and under contract we have 3,056. Last week we had 2,837 for sale and 3,055 under contract. So that segment still remaining very strong and no real noticeable significant week over week change. Now in this 500 to 750 segment, we actually had a bump up in inventory. To this week, we have 794 active listings, and then under contracts are at 493. So last week's number was 762 and 500 respectively. So we did go up a fair amount, 32 listings in the 500 to 750 segment. And then we had a little tick down in under contracts from 500 to 493 this week. Now in the mid-luxury segment, Actually, that's kind of a little smaller change situation there, where we have 302 listings this week available for sale versus versus last week's number of 294. And then under contracts, we have 137 versus last week's number of 141. So just a little smidge up in listings by eight listings, and 4 not in contract this past week. And then lastly, the $1 million luxury segment, we have 494 listings available as compared to last week's number of 485. So up by 9 units there. And we had a 1 unit drop to 130 under contract this week versus 131 last week. So it's kind of a little mixed board there with regards to the different price points. However, things are still looking pretty solid as we begin to wrap up July. I think we're going to probably see a little charge here the next couple weeks over the month of August as people work, as a lot of families start to work towards finalizing school situations and making some of those moves now, because they may be wanting to make that change to a home that may have the adequate space now, because we're going to be starting this school year, it looks like, doing home study. So, we've got clients right now looking for more dedicated spaces, both for children's study. Also now, too, instead of just one home office, looking at 2 home offices, because we have, parents, dual income situations now, either work from home or splitting time between home and office as people kind of work through COVID. So we're kind of probably going to see that last surge of demand, peak demand in August. Now, what tends in September will be interesting, because now we'll be down to the last couple of months before the election. That has a tendency to have a little softening effect. However, with COVID and the first several weeks of stay-at-home orders and things of that nature, we had that pent-up demand, and it's kind of really sustained us for the last few months, plus coupled with the great interest rates. So we'll see, okay, do we continue to see demand carrying into September? However, right now, it looks like things are still moving pretty steady. Also ran a little search on some tools that we use to track search traffic for sense buyer demand, and that traffic is still showing nicely. We'll probably get into more of that as we do our as we wrap up the month of July. We may not have our July numbers yet for next week's Wednesday report. However, as soon as we've got those together, we're going to do a deep dive into the July numbers here in probably the first week or 2 of August, so you know exactly kind of what happened with the July housing market. Now, if you have any questions about what we just kind of covered, got some questions maybe about your particular neighborhood, want to see if it's still maybe a great time to sell or buy depending on your house, or depending on the kind of house you're looking for, definitely reach out to us. We're here to chat, answer those questions, and provide you the options you need to make sure you're making the right decision with buying, selling, or investing in Las Vegas real estate. So again, on behalf of my partner, Colleen Schaefer, thank you for tuning in to this kind of, I kind of sometimes call it the Nespresso edition of Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. Again, the weekly update, where more now than ever, your real estate experience matters. So again, give us a call if we can help you, again, with buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Till tomorrow, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.